This is my review on Batman and Robin from 1997, starring George Clooney and Kristen Dunst, and the final and also fourth installment in the Keaton franchise that started with Keaton and made directed by Tim Burton for the first two ones. Then Val Kilmer took on the role because simply didn't want to be and changed his mind having second sauce in the Batman Forever about Batman Forever being on set. So he walked off set and there comes Val Kilmer. Now I personally think he did a phenomenal job and did a much better job in Keaton because he got more stuff to work with and more dialogue and had Batman on more screen. And gave him a character arc that was seriously like in the first two ones, where it was Batman and Batman Returns. Well, they finally gave him a character arc in Batman Forever. Now, you would think he did such a good job, you would think that they would bring him back for the fourth installment, the final installment, that Schumacher took over after the studios didn't want Byrne to do a third one, or even a fourth one, even another Batman movie again. By Warner Bros. Studios, didn't want him to do it. He does not come back. Instead, here comes everyone comes back except for the fourth and final installment. That were except for main character Val Kilmer. And no, King does not reprise his role. It is George Clooney that's playing Batman at this time. That's the same Batman that was in Batman Forever and also Batman and Robin. That's this movie. And also the same Batman that's in Batman and Batman Returns, the one that Keaton made to play Batman in. I know, it's very confusing. Now, the reason why they didn't, when it was George Clooney and then got Val Kilmer back, well, Val Kilmer was a little difficult, Schumacher said, to work on set because he would just be stressed. I hear he was a bit difficult apparently to work on set with the cast and everyone, and he was because Val Kilmer was a little stressed out wanting the movie come out really good, so he was being a pain in the ass and getting frustrated on set. So one of those things. So because Val Kilmer's a perfectionist and wants to see everything come out really well for everything he's done, and was really known for doing that with all of his work. Either one, doesn't have any screen time in, so that means screen time in. So yeah, that's why the went with George Clooney and basically not brought Val Kilmer back because George Clooney was more easier to work with than Val Kilmer because he wasn't as stressed out as much of the movie coming out good. And so, yeah, so that's what Schumacher said on the commentary of Batman Forever. That's why he wanted George Clooney back. So, be Batman this time. So, basically, and I'm just going to say this. At some point, I thought this was the worst Batman movie. But then I saw 2008's The Dark Knight. And then 2017's Justice League. And oh my god, I saw this movie on an incredibly different light. As I come to appreciate this movie more. And I feel I was guilty for liking this movie, even though it's not my least favorite Batman film of all time, and my least favorite thing to do with Batman of all time for cartoon or live action, for any media that involves bringing Batman to a new light in adaptation form. It would be live action or cartoon, So, well... And then there's a Super Friends cartoon. Although I think that's more dignified than this movie than for Batman Betrayal of Batman, accurate one, than this movie. So yeah, before the two worst Batman adaptations for me version of Batman was Batman from the Super Friends show and Batman from this movie, Batman and Robin. Now, do I hate this movie? No. Do I hate the Super Friends show? Yeah, but if it was just a Batman show, I would hate it. But yes, it's... Look, how do I explain this? Batman, Superman, and Robin are the only thing that's good about that show to me. And... because the rest is, oh boy, is bad to me. It is bad and poor taste. Like... But that's another time I'm going to talk about the show, you know? So, I think I hate that show, but I'm not sure if I remember. I'm not sure if I'm thinking of the early... See, the whole run of Super Friends is like is a very bit complicated of that show. My relationship with that is so complicated, so I'm going to have to talk about that in the separate video. So yeah, basically... Now I see the worst Batman Betrayal is the one from 2017's Justice League, and 2008's Dark Knight is the worst thing that Batman has ever been involved in. 2008's The Dark Knight and 2017's Justice League is the worst Batman adaptations of all time, period, to me. No longer this one, or Super Friends is number 2 for the top 2 worst ones. So, how is this movie as a whole? I give this a 5 out of 10. It's fine. It's not bad. It's actually a decent movie. It's fairly decent. It's fun and it's watchable. It's not one of my favorite comic book movies, I would say. I mean, it's not like how I have so much nostalgia. I don't have it's not like I have a personal love towards this movie, and I mean, maybe I would have a personal love to this movie if the movie was focused on Mr. Freeze's point of view of a movie instead of Batman and Robin the main focus, like the villains were the main focus in the two Michael Keaton and Batman movies, because the villains are so much better than the heroes in this one, in terms of writing and acted. Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, and also Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. Lots of fun to watch the performances, and you got a feeling they know that they're not in the most. You got a feeling that they're having fun. And besides really trying hard, but they're having fun with it at the same time, you know? This movie is there's a character for Batman and Alfred, and the rest of the Bat family that they introduce. Barbara Gordon from the comics, Batgirl, also known as. Well, they changed her from being Gordon's daughter into Alfred Pennyworth's niece. And that pissed me the fuck off. Because we know she's going to become Batgirl now. I mean, why would you do that? It's and not that James Gordon's in this movie, and just making more obvious that there's really no reason for James Gordon's existence outside that he's pretty much useless and obsolete of a replacement. I mean, replaceable, expendable, you know? I mean, he's completely useless for a character and no reason to be in this movie other than, you're not really sure at this point. Because he hasn't done anything so far in the 4 movies, and does any less in this one. It's so. I really hate Jim Gordon in this movies. You know, he's just such a waste of space. Now, I would say the girl that plays Batgirl does a good job. Even though she's not called Barbara Gordon, but it's called Barbara Pennyworth, which is a mistake to change her family bloodline, you know? What was like one was before, you know? And also change her name, too. It's my same problem with I had with them changing Bruce into David for the Hulk show with Luke Ferrigno and Bill Bixby. It pisses me the fuck off. And yeah, even though I like this show, The Incredible Hulk, with Bill Bixby and Luke Ferrigno as the Hulk and, well, Bruce Banner, even though he's like called Bruce, he's called David Banner, because, you know, he has the same last name, but they gave him a different first name. You know, that he was never called David Banner in the comics. So, yeah. This change to this character for Barbara Gordon and to Barbara Pennyworth pisses me off as the Bill Bixby change. Instead of having him playing Banner Bruce Banner from the comics, he's not played Bruce Banner the character, he's played David Banner. So basically, we didn't, even though that was a good show and all, the first person that ever played Bruce Banner, but with his proper name, is that 2003 terrible Hulk movie titled Hulk. Great. So that was the first Bruce Banner we ever got in live action. Because I actually took the actual proper name. Well, that was one good thing they did out of a billion bad ideas they had for that movie. Is to use the actual correct name for Bruce Banner and use that as Bruce Banner from the comics. The name. So, now, I don't want you guys to think that this is, I just had to get that out of me, okay? So anyway, Freeze is trying to save his wife because she's dying of the same illness called Lagrange syndrome. The same thing that Alfred's dying of. They're both having late stages, so she's on ice to slow down effects, and Alfred's, well, he's not on ice, so he's doing a lot worse. And Batman and Robin and Barbara going to finally come to terms with him dying and come to be aware of it. Batman was aware of it first, but doesn't say anything until Barbara tells Robin, Dick Grayson, as Dick Grayson. And, so now the dilemma is to actually, in the third act, the dilemma is that Alfred is dying. The bad part is that Alfred's dying, but also the dilemma is that they have to stop Freeze from freezing the entire rest of Gotham, because Freeze wants to do this because he thinks and was told by Poison Ivy that Batman killed his wife, even though it was Poison Ivy that attempted to murder her. But Batman and Robin saved her and put her back on, got her ice machine back working on keeping her frozen. And Batman confronts Mr. Freeze of what really happened and has proof that Poison Ivy confessed it during the fight with Batgirl. As Batgirl saved Batman and Robin's ass from Poison Ivy. Oh yeah, Poison Ivy is giving this, trying to fuck with their heads. Robin and Batman get them turning against each other by actually giving them signals which is, and also basically like sexual signals, like trying to get them arguing into basically arguing in which who gets laid over with Poison Ivy. Batman snaps out of it, and needs to convince Robin to snap out of it, and that she is using him. And he makes a speech about family and partnership, so that's enough to convince Robin. So, yeah, the Robin Poison Ivy, and then she gets to drop on them, and then that's when things go south for her after she gets beaten by Batgirl and eaten by her own plant, supposedly. But wait, we find out in Arkham Asylum she's still alive, and the plant didn't really eat her. It just, well, basically kept her trapped, I guess. And we see Freeze is in her cell waiting to get his revenge for the attempt of murdering his own wife. That Poison Ivy tried to attempt murdering his wife and failed after he helps Batman and gives him the formula that has been quite tested, but is going that's a cure, but it's possibly a cure, but it's an untested cure to save Alfred's life. And Batman actually asks him, will he help him and help me save another life, and maybe in time you can also help yourself with your wife saving and dying from McGregor syndrome, and asks if he will help him, and referring to as doctor. And Freeze has changed of heart and tells him to take 2 of these and call me in the morning and let me know how it went. It's the antidote that helps for McGregor syndrome that Alfred and Freeze's wife dying from. So Alfred's all fine, and then now no longer Batman and Robin, but now Batman, Robin, and Batgirl. And they suit up and go to Kick-Ass as the triumphant theme song plays again as they arrive at the Bat Signal. Instead of 2 of them, it's 3 of them. 3 of them. And so that was Batman and Robin. I personally really enjoy this movie. I mean, it's kind of a mess, but it's a fun mess. Like Shazam or Wonder Woman, you know? It's not 100%, it's not the most accurate portrayal of Batman, but honestly, for this franchise, I'm kind of used to that. For a franchise that started with such a absurd, very loosely based off the comics, involving Tim Burton making the first 2 ones, and then Schumacher taking over the rest of the franchise for the next 2. I think this went out when the franchise went out fairly decent, because seeing that the franchise wasn't exactly on high expectation for me in my eyes, and wasn't exactly like the gold standard for any quality movie in general, a comic movie for the first 2 ones, and the fact that this one, I see that the first 2 ones was key as a 5 out of 10, and this last installment, the 4th installment, is a 5 out of 10. I say it went out fairly well on a decent note. Just saying that the movie franchise wasn't that high quality. If you go back watching all 4 of them, they're really not that. They're not the most accurate portrayal or faithful portrayal, or it doesn't seem like they're even trying to be the most faithful portrayal of Batman from the comics. So I'm kind of forgiving of this. That's not dark, because I didn't see the first 2 ones as dark. I just found them as, well, more campy and dark. despite that they were stylized very dark. I think the reason why I like Schumacher's vision more than Tim Burton's vision for the second half of the four movie run is because Schumacher's more honest and seems more aware that these movies are camp, all four of them, and he doesn't like hide them to like make them try to disguise that there's something they're not, you know? Like, we wouldn't get a dark Batman movie, a really dark Batman movie, till The Batman with Robert Pattinson. That was also a very faithful portrayal of Batman at the same time. Also felt like outside of comic book lore and also an Elseworld world of Batman, but also feeling very faithful to the comics. That was also very dark and serious. So, yeah, I mean, and I'm even counting Christian Bale's Batman in this category, that, like, because, yeah. So, and we really look at, like Batman, Keaton's and Batman was more like, just like, to focus, was more clear on focus on the rage and the brutality of nature of Batman. And mostly the side aesthetic, but was his moral compass, as in don't kill. And, but often shine away from that area. And because it didn't really focus on him. Because it focused more on the villain, that's what Burton wanted to do. And therefore, it like made like the movies feel more like camp than serious or dark. Especially when Burton never like let Batman suffer any consequences, emotional or physical, you know, for his actions in the first two Burton movies, and the fact they continue that for the next two ones with Schumacher directing. I say this is a fitting ending to a franchise. So yeah, I like Schumacher's vision, second half of the vision of the second half of the four movies that Schumacher did. That style was Burton. So I like all four Batman movies was that Burton, that style was Burton, Michael Keaton. Even though I prefer Schumacher's half more than Burton's half, because it seems to be very it just seems like they know what they're making. And they know that what they're making is not exactly high quality. My problem with Burton, he seems to be fooled by his own ego and thinking that he's making high quality movies that are dark and complex, but really they're not. They're just the outside of the aesthetic look. Other than that, it's just camp and a bunch of useless shit like Batman and Robin have, and even Batman Forever has. True, I think that Batman Forever is the best out of the run. It has the least useless shit and the most important shit within the movie, but that doesn't mean there's not useless shit in the movie. And that's my problem with the movie and these Batman movies. That I gotta say, I always took the Adam West run of Batman from the 1960s era in the Batman 1966 era with Adam West movie trilogy, besides his three seasons of Batman, more seriously than any of these four movies, because they felt like they had the least amount of useless shit. And that was because the stuff they did have seemed relevant for the world and to the plot of the story they told. So, and that's again my problem with Christopher Nolan's trilogy is the opposite. It's very similar. My problem with the four movie Batman franchise that started with Keaton and it was George Clooney. That these movies, those Nolan trilogy and the Batman four movies, that Keaton started, it just feels like there's too much that feels unnecessary, and it feels like too silly and too cheesy and campy, especially when you compare it to 1966 era, which I'm just taking it was starring Adam West, and honestly, I took everything that Adam West did with Batman more seriously than this. From his run of Batman, from his 3 movies with Batman, that ended with 2 animated movies of Batman of his run, and that began with his 3 seasons of Batman, of the show titled Batman from 1966. So that's why I think he's the best Batman before Robert Pattinson, because he just had the least amount of useless shit in his run. And honestly, I took him more seriously than any of these Batmans after him, before Robert Pattinson came and right the wrongs of the past with the Batman. But I'm going to talk about that one a different time. Bye. So I give this a... Oh, wait. Did I give this a 5 out of 10? Yeah, I did. Bye.